What is up, everybody? It's your boy here today. We're gonna talk about the Zelda Tears of the Kingdom $7 price point once again because the first video I did, it wasn't really confirmed. People thought it was a pricing error that game released at $70, but it's official that this game is dropping. This is gonna be Nintendo's first game to drop at the $7 price point. And there have been so many people defending this price for Zelda Breath of the Wild, for Zelda the Breath of the Wild sequel, Tears of the Kingdom. And it's like, for me, I'm not paying $70 for this game. I am going to wait for the diehards to buy this game, get done with it probably within like a month or two, then buy it on eBay for around the price point I want to buy it at, probably around like $50. I'm not spending more than $50 on this game because Nintendo can kick rocks with that $7 price point for the standard game. Not even the collector's edition, but the standard game they want $70 for. Now, at least Sony and Microsoft have a reason they can do it because they release new hardware. Like it's at least like new next gen features or whatever you get when you buy the game for $70. You know, it's still some marketing BS right there, but Nintendo should be the last people who should be charging people $70 for this outdated hardware. It's like the original Breath of the Wild game was struggling on the Nintendo Switch. Some parts of that game was doing like less than 20 frames per second. And it's like, really? Were you really doing a price increase for this next game? So I just can't rock with that right there. They released the last Pokemon game. That game was super buggy and unfinished and bug ridden and a glitch fest. And they want to charge full price for that, but that was like the record. That game broke record-breaking sales. So I kind of see why they're doing this because they say, hey, some of these games our fans will buy no matter what, no matter if they're buggy, glitchy, barely working. Our fans will buy as long as you got the Nintendo first-party IP attached to them. So they're planning to do this on a price point, not for every Nintendo game, but for select ones. So for what I'm getting from this, it's going to be the ones that sell a lot regardless. So it's going to be like this new Zelda game, which is going to be the first one. Prior to the Pokemon games going forward, the Pokemon games are probably going to be $70 a piece because those games sell regardless. They made the last game. The game was super glitchy and buggy. And people still bought that at full price. So I could definitely see them charge $70 for the Pokemon games. Probably Animal Crossing because those games sell really well. The last ones did like 30. Any game that did like 30 plus, 20 plus, 30 plus million before in a catalog, they're gonna do the similar price point too. That just makes sense for them to do that because as soon as the fan base is gonna buy regardless. So that's why I see them doing this by case basis as they call it. So yeah, I'm not fond of this decision from Nintendo. I was like, I know the diehards are going to buy it. They're going to make excuses to why they're going to buy it, but I'm not a fan of this. It just makes zero sense to me whatsoever. Like, what reason to have to charge more money other than I can and I'm going to do so? That's the only reason why they're charging more. It's like because they can do it. That's the only reason why. It's like no logical reason why they would do so other than just because they can. Like, I just don't get it. And then people with these ads saying, hey, back in 1994, I paid this much for video games back in the day, so I guess we should be accustomed to paying this much again. So because you got ripped off back in the day, you won't have nostalgia for getting ripped off again in modern day? Okay. Well, not for me. It's like, I'll let y'all be the beta testers. Like for that Pokemon game. You bought that Pokemon game for $60. It was super unfinished being a beta tester. Now I'm gonna buy it a few months later for like $40 and hopefully they got a patch. They patched the game up. So it's just like you're paying just to be a beta tester pretty much for these games. I'm just not liking how this is going. Like I remember at one point, like even with these games right here, I believe they had like the Nintendo seal of approval, Nintendo seal of quality or whatever with these games back in the day. Or these games wouldn't release super buggy and be glitch fest, but nowadays they just don't care. Like it's like we getting money regardless. We really got any competition because the other platforms are not focused on like children based games or like kid friendly games like that. So we don't have any competition, so you can just release whatever. The Pokemon games could be super unpolished, and we can still charge full price for them. People still buy them and defend that price point. So, like we got our famous Sony fanboy journalist. He isn't only defending Sony today, but he's defending Nintendo BS decisions as well. Unpopular opinion: the best AAA games are worth $70. Zelda will be too, and it's kind of ironic because Most of the AAA games are not worth $70. Like most of those games aren't worth $70, to be honest. As long very select few, I will say that even worth the similar price point, but the vast majority are not. And so much so that these games are flopping at that price point. Like the $7 price point hasn't been super successful so far. So I don't know where he's getting at with this point right here. Then he says Zelda will be worth it too. Yeah, I beg to differ. Gamers literally play sometimes hundreds of hours and then whine about paying an extra $10. Come on. Is that every game that you're putting hundreds of hours into, or those select few? So it's like, I don't know. Zelda Breath of the Wild is worth $250. Like, I enjoyed Zelda. I don't have this super weird attachment that some people do with Zelda Breath of the Wild. I enjoyed it, moved on. I was like, I don't tear up when I see the trailer for Tears of the Kingdom. Like, that doesn't affect me in that way. So I can wait for this to go down in price. I don't gotta buy this at full price day one. And you know they're gonna charge you for a DLC later too, which is the crazy part. So you can pay $70 for the standard game, and you can pay for the DLC, which is probably like another $20 to $30. So you pay $100 for just the game with everything, pretty much. While the industry is making the most money it's ever made before in times past, the game industry is making as much money as before, but they need to charge you more money for these games, which makes zero sense. Bro is acting like the $7 goes to paying for more devs and not going into the pockets of board members and shareholders. So there's only been one game worth $70, and they charged $60 for it. Yeah, and that game is only decreasing in value, so you can get the game for probably like $40 right now. So I just don't understand how some of these games they just determine to be worth 70. This is mind-boggling. At least with other platforms, their games go down in price. Nintendo games are notorious for staying the same price for years. So that doesn't make it even better. It doesn't make it any better at that point. $70 doesn't mean the game is good. AKA Forspoken. That game dropped to $70. And I think it didn't even sell that well. $60 is already too high for some Nintendo games, considering that Nintendo doesn't like to drop the prices for their first party games. Yeah, a lot of their games I don't think it's worth 60, to be honest. Like most Nintendo games, I don't think it's worth 60. Definitely is no game worth 70. It's not too many games worth 70. So I don't know. It's everybody's opinion. Everybody has their own point on where they think these games are worth. But a lot of these games I don't think is worth full price in my opinion. So this fanboy has to state that I guess he's saying why does people give Sony so much crap before and pretty much Nintendo's getting a free pass, which I kind of has a point. $7 PlayStation games, people F you Sony, how dare you? Why this is outrageous. Arrogant, Sony is back. I am not buying F this. While Nintendo dropped $7 games, people, yeah, that sucks. Game is gonna be great though. They saying the price less, but they're still gonna buy it at $70. It's like he has a point. He does have a point. Or even people wanted to get mad for Microsoft charging $70 for video games. Well, it's like they wanted everybody to be mad that Microsoft charged $70 for video games while you just play the games in Game Pass. So they really wanted people to be mad about that. But if you could just buy the game, you just play the game in Game Pass. Why would you be angry about that? I don't know, but I do agree with this point though. Like you can't be as hypocritical. You can't be saying, "Hey, why is Sony doing this charge $70 for video games?" Then Nintendo does the same thing, and they offer even less because they don't even got like current gen features. I guess it's like you're just playing the same thing with old hardware. I love it. Not only do the haters have to eat crow, they're eating it with zero next gen upgrades. A price hike is absolutely nothing to show for it. I think Nintendo shouldn't be charging anywhere near $7 for their games. Both are terrible, and you should demand better. Yeah, it's like only console gamers are getting screwed over at the end of the day. It's like console gamers are getting screwed over on this price point. Like PC gamers, their games don't come anywhere near $70. If they do, they go down in price very fast. They don't stay at the same price point. But console gamers are the only community that worry about paying $7 for video games. It's really the Nintendo saying that, doesn't matter to me. And I used to be like saying, hey, these people who post the pirate gifts and selling the Seven Seas memes, they were wrong. They're playing these Nintendo Switch games day one on consoles on Nintendo Switch at all. I used to think these people were awful, but now I'm like, hey, go at it. Have a ball at this point. Like Nintendo charge you $70 for Zelda and $60 for unfinished games that's buggy and glitchy games. It's like, hey, go sell the Seven Seas at this point. It's like Nintendo is definitely in like a cocky phase right now. It's just like, hey, we can charge $70 for different games, and our fan base is just gonna eat it up at this point. Like it's not even like any type of remote pushback from like the hardcore Nintendo fans, the people who talk about Nintendo on a daily basis. They ain't giving no pushback. They just like, hey, it is what it is. It's just wild. Anyone who bought a $7 game at the start of the generation has to accept that you opened the door. Don't act all righteous now when all the other companies walk through it. Yeah. I thought the problem was just mediocre games. The problem was never $7 games. The problem was mediocre games at $70. Is he really bragging about God of War 7 selling 11 million copies in 3 months, $70? It was bound to happen eventually. It sucks. I'm not sure even why Nintendo now wants to go. They should be the last company doing this price increase. That just makes no sense. Like, it's just wild. Don't worry, they both suck. Yeah. It's like, yeah. So I'm it kind of feels like I'm just rambling on at this point. Like, people are saying that, hey, they don't like this price point, but they're still gonna buy it. I'm gonna wait. I'll just wait like a month or two. I'm not super invested into Zelda to buy this game day one. I'll probably wait like a month or two. Wait till this game, somebody buys it, they want to sell on eBay, I'll buy it at probably like $50 price point. Like I'm not gonna pay a full 70 for this. I don't think it's worth 70. And I don't think a lot of these games are worth the full price Nintendo's charging, so that is just my view on this. I'm not okay with selling a price point for Nintendo. I think it's very bizarre that they're doing that. I think they're only doing it just because, hey, they can do it. Their fan base is gonna accept it no matter what. You know, they're not really getting any major benefit from that price increase. And then you got journalists like this. It just makes it even more shameless at this point. Like, geez. But I'm gonna include it right here. Definitely want to see your thoughts down below on Nintendo's new stance on charging $70 for games on a case-by-case basis. Definitely want to see your thoughts down below about this. Leave a like if you like this video, and as always, thanks for watching, and peace.